about 11 years now,
Wow.
dealing with juveniles and a whole bunch of people. So besides that, I'm also a family man. Just got married about 3 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's exciting to be here, and I'm here to share my experience as well as any ideas that may come up. So thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here. We are really appreciative of your time.
Thank you.
And we hope our audience will learn a lot. But most important, we really want you to walk away understanding that being single, or in your state of being single, or the season of being single, there's so much that God is expecting of you and so much to learn. So really be appreciative of what God has for you in store for you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Boateng, what does singleness mean to you? What does it mean, singlehood?
Singleness or singlehood can be briefly described as a mature person who is unmarried or also in the process of getting married or trying to make sure that things are in place. But with the biblical definition, it says that with no romantic relationship. So you cannot, in the Bible, you cannot be dating somebody or courting with somebody and claim yourself as being single. Or in the social aspect, you can be dating somebody and you can still be single.
Okay, so we are talking about singlehood. So of course, our guests really explain things to us. So there's three parts, so you can be dating somebody and society will say you are single. You can be in a process of getting married and society consider you single. But we know that in the Bible, being single means that you are single.
You're abstaining.
You're abstaining from anything and you are not in any relationship. And that is our standpoint. We're talking about looking at your relationship and where you are in your relationship with God when you are single. And that is an important part.
Mr. Boateng, what do you think about widows or very elderly people? What do you think? Do you think they're single or they're not? Where will you place them?
Thank you. For instance, in our church and also in our community, a lot of people, spouses pass away, and in their plans to get married, we can still consider them as being single.
Okay, so if they're planning to get married, then they're single.
Right.
Okay.
And that's a good thing.
And if they're not planning to get married, they're okay, then they're not single.
They are okay, you can...
They really do not want to get married
right, because I know...
You consider them not single.
Right. Because the reason I'm saying is that especially the elderly, let's say somebody's about 60 years, 70 years, sometimes they don't want to be bothered anymore. So you cannot classify them as singles.
So single is mental, but most importantly about being single is also it's a phase. So if you are in a single, are you moving out of the single phase or you are in a single phase as a status? And that is an important thing that you mentally have to prepare yourself and think about it. So when we're thinking about single, where do you see yourself? Are you in the process of being in that state and are you okay with where you are? And are you allowing God to use you in the state in which you are in? And that is an important part. So when you think about, when you are describing someone or someone being single, how do you describe a person? Like if somebody come to you and say, oh, I'm single, will you have a description to describe them, or will you say you take their description as a face value?
No, I'm going to have a couple of questions for the person. One, I'm going to ask him or her that, are you talking to somebody? Are you dating somebody? What are your values in terms of preparing yourself? So these are some important questions that I'm going to ask the person who comes to me. So that you cannot just say I'm single and I'll take that. I have to.
You have to dig deeper.
Dig deeper.
That is good. That is really good because in digging deep, you really get to talk to the person and find out the state in which the person is in. And that will also help you with, dealing with the person and the advice you can give the person also.
I like that too, because sometimes people say they are single and they're trying to date somebody, but really they might not really be single. So digging deeper will let you know if the person is actually single the way you think single should be, or they are single in their own way,
right?
But not single the way you think. I never thought of that.
That is true. That is true.
Thinking about singlehood, there are some misconceptions. There are some ways that society, whether it is American society or Ghanaian society or African society, there's a way that we see single people that sometimes might not really be true. We see somebody is single and we immediately assume certain things about them. What are some of these misconceptions, some of these assumptions that people label single people with?
Okay, there are several misconceptions because, especially from our community where we live, when somebody reach an age where he's supposed or she's supposed to get married and you're not getting married, then that's where a lot of conception comes through. For instance, people will classify you as not being serious, you're not responsible, and that's what bothers single people a lot.
It does.
Yeah, because the person might not know what you're going through, what kind of preparations you having, and the person will just classify you. And another thing is also people will consider you as not being matured. And the fact that you're single doesn't mean that you're not matured.
True.
Yeah, sometimes it's like I said earlier on, maybe you are concentrating on your education or your career. So all that comes into play. But technically, people will think that, oh, you're not matured, that's why you're still single or something like that. And another thing I also want to say, people will classify you as a player, especially being a man. And it's very disappointing when you hear comments like that, being a lady. But I think ladies don't get it a lot. The guys get it.
I think ladies, we get it badly.
Yeah.
Because people think of the culture in which we live and look at it and they say, your clock is running. You know, the expectation is you are like a semester, you are on the shelf. You know, they put a label on you and they think, oh, you are cursed. You know, that is
Some even think it's because you're rude.
Yes. And so it becomes more psychologically, you know, it can be debilitating because you feel like you are not worthy. And that is the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
I think other people also think about single people as though, like, they write them off. They think, oh, maybe they don't want to get married. That's why. Like, oh, that one doesn't get married. And another thing I also thought about is sometimes they assume that if you're single, then you don't have any use for your money. Like, you don't know what to use.
That's what I was
money
going to
for.
come about.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, because when you are
about
single,
your finances, about your resources as being single.
As being single, especially even from your family, your extended family, everybody would like to come to you for money.
Of course.
Because they think that, oh, you don't know what you're using your money for. You got no children. But thank God that for me, I had children from my previous marriage, so I couldn't have that problem. But yet, people still come to you asking for money. And even in our society, when they want to give you a role or a leadership role, they think that, oh, he's single or she's single, and
they cannot do it.
Cannot do it or cannot be reliable. So that's a very big conception in our society.
So if you are watching on Moment of Truth, we are talking about single, and we really want you to focus on any state that you are in, God is using you. So you have to prove to the people that being single doesn't mean that you are not reliable. It doesn't mean that you don't know what to do with your money. It doesn't mean that you are rude. It doesn't mean that you are a player. And it definitely doesn't mean that you cannot be used by God to do great things in the God ministry. So think about that.
Yes, and please go on Facebook and give us some more misconceptions. What are some things that people have said to you or have said about you that is a misconception, a label they're putting on you just because you're single or because you were single at a time when you were single? What are some of the things that people said to you that you knew were not true, but they really thought they were saying the truth just by looking at you and looking at the fact that you're not married, and they come up with
their own agenda.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that we really want to talk about is even using your hands when you are single. You know, when you think about your time management, being single, was it one of the factors that you even think about when you were single? How do you use your time to even benefit the community or the church as a whole?
Okay. Thank you for asking that. That was another very important part that was in my life when I was still single, because your time management is very important. Because even according to Paul was concentrating on the positive part of being single, especially being in the church, you have ample time because you have no children dragging you or you have no wife dragging you. So using your time positively in the works or in the things of God is very important, and you have the chance to do that. So for me, being single, you need to do more so that when you have, especially with the ladies, when you have a child, you'll not be able to move around like
as
you.
much as
Yeah,
you want
so
to.
being single on a positive type, on the positive side, your time management, especially in the things of God, is very important. And that's the time you also need to enjoy yourself, travel around the world.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Yeah.
So it is definitely important that most times when people are single, they're in the status quo waiting period. So they are waiting. So they don't want to do anything. They just want to wait. I'm waiting for Mr. Right. I'm waiting for Mrs. Right. So you spend your whole entire life
Just
waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And we are telling you a moment or two, please do not waste your time waiting. We want you to spend your time using it in the glorification of God, but also in making sure that you enjoy the life that God has given you. And that's the best way to serve,
Oh,
to
wow.
enjoy the life.
So how about, I've been thinking about something though. So that's one way we can use our time as single, right? What are other things that we should be doing as singles, like if we're single, to be doing to enhance our own lives, like socially, emotionally, mentally, financially? What are some things that as singles, like my host said, you shouldn't just sit and be waiting. So what are some things that you should be doing?
Like I mentioned, travel around, find some hobby, get your education whilst you're single, because you don't want to get married and your wife will be start complaining that, oh, you come from work, you are going straight on your books. So get your education, focus on the career you want to do, and also one important thing, be very prayerful as well.
Amen.
When you are single, because you cannot just move around without the favor of God. So it is also important to consider all these things.
Awesome, awesome.
Thank
While
you.
we are single, finances, what would you like to say about our finances as single people? What are some ways that we can work on our finances? You know how single people, we like to look flashy and all, which is good because we need to be noticed, right? But then how do you think we can manage our finances? How can we get more in and so we can get more to use? Have any tips on financial management for singles?
Yeah, I believe you need to save money and also invest your money without, buying flashy cars or changing cars. Especially with the guys, we like to show off.
Of course.
You need to be noticed, you know?
And, somebody told me a couple of months ago that, oh, when you are single and you're changing cars, the girls likes you because
If a girl likes you because you are changing cars,
That's the wrong
that
girl.
is the wrong girl
Right,
for you, because
right.
she's too materialistic to be a wife material. So please, if you're watching Moment of Truth, don't be chasing the guys because they're chasing their cars. We
For
have
all
issues.
you know, they're just borrowing it and
right.
circulating.
Yes, and sometimes people even they are not buying the car. They are, what do you call it, renting the car.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want a person who wastes their money renting a car. You want to invest in your car. Even though it doesn't add value, it's still an investment in your commuting.
So make sure you invest your money and save as far as you can.
Okay, that's good. So we were talking about, a moment or two, we are talking about being a singlehood, and we're talking about just how you manage your resources. One of the things I really want to stress about it is, if you're investing your money, you really want to do research on the things that you want to invest in. Most people try to avoid a big investment, but if you can do investment, and I mean investment like a house, I will encourage you to do investment. Even when you are single and you have the opportunity to buy a house, please buy it. And that is a good advice.
We agree with you. It's a good advice.
That's a good
Yes.
advice.
So we're still talking about, what are some different stages of singlehood, and how do we work within those stages when you are in that stages?
Okay, I'll say there are several stages. Like United States, as when somebody's 18 years old, you think, oh,
You're an adult.
I'm an adult, but you're not there
You're
yet.
not yet there.
Yeah. So
Even at 21, you're still not there.
right. So I will classify from 18 to 25, from 25 to 30, from 30 to 35, 35 to 40. These are different stages, but each range has its responsibilities and as well as preparation. So especially when you are between 18 and 25, it is very important to focus on your education. And after 25, where you have finished college, then you need to also consider looking into your future career. Okay. And from 30 to 35, then you are settling in, and don't take the pressure from the community or your parents because they're going to say, oh, you got everything, why you not married, you know. But it's not just getting married or just getting into a relationship. It comes with a lot, which I'm going to be highlighting on that in a few minutes.
So our guest has been wonderful, just talking about the stages. And I think it's important when you think about singlehood, like what stage are you finding yourself? Because if you are 18 to 25 and you feel like, oh my goodness, this is the end of the world, please be advised. It is not the end of the world. It's the opportunity to focus on yourself and your relationship with God and where God wants for you at that age. So as you move on, God is still working in your life. God is faithful and He's definitely able to do so much in your life, even when you think singlehood is a curse.
Yeah. And you can also go on Facebook once again and tell us what stages you think are single stages. You know, you can also contribute to this conversation by telling us what are the stages you think, and you can highlight it too.
Okay. So we're talking about what are some of the things that you should be doing when you are single. So we talk about investment.
What you should be doing.
Yeah. So what else should you be doing when you are single?
I think when you are single, like we said earlier on, you need to spend time doing the things of God. It is very important because I think doing things of God, God also bless you one way or the other.
He really does.
Yeah, so it is very important to do the things of God and also do stuff for your community because once you get married, you're going to be busy. Yeah. So to me, being single, you need to get yourself busy and in the things of God and things of society, and also, like we said earlier on, enjoy yourself, travel around. Because it's traveling, to me, traveling is a good thing because it exposes you a lot. So
it does.
Yeah,
it
so
really does.
That's what I would pretty much say.
Okay.
You know, the devil finds work for idle hands. So it's good we're talking about what we should be doing. But if you're idle, the devil will find some work for you. So what are some of the things we should not be doing if we're single?
Yeah,
things that will not help us progress.
Okay, you need to draw a line of the things that you want in your life. So that's where it comes in a total as a person. Because being single doesn't mean that you have to do this and that don't do this. From the onset, you have to know what are the things that are so important for me in my life. Then when you get to that stage, then you need to draw a line that, oh, I'm not doing this. And then if I will pick few of them, you said things that you shouldn't be doing.
You should not be doing.
You shouldn't be doing.
You're
so
single,
even when you think about your priorities, one of the things as single most people want to do, they want to go to hang out with the popular places. And being single doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to the club. And those are the things that we really want to highlight. The things that you shouldn't be doing because you feel like I'm single, so this is where I am in the state of my life.
Okay. I would say that you should not be talking to somebody if you are not interested, because sometimes people are just bored.
Don't lead people on.
Right. So don't lead them on if you're not
interested.
If you're not interested
in that person.
Don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
Okay.
And sometimes you may be talking to the person without you thinking that the person is falling in love. So you need to make sure that you are not just talking to the person, but you have to draw the line from the onset that, hey, I just like you, we're just talking. So so that the person will not put any conclusion that, oh, he likes me, that's why he always calling me. Yeah, but sometimes you can just be friends with somebody.
But you have to set the boundary.
Yeah.
And that is an important thing when being single. Most people don't realize that the boundaries that you set, even in friendship, is an important part when you are thinking about your marriage. So people that you meet, have them know that this is your limit, so that way they will not be harassing you, because some people can harass you. So you have to set a boundary so you don't get harassed. And that is important.
And another thing I also want to say is don't be easily influenced by people, because people are going to give you pressure that, oh, you're getting old, you better find a man.
Just settle for this.
Yeah. So you need to also look at that aspect, especially looking for the kind of values that you need in your life and as well as from your partner. So you need to start praying early in preparation for that. So don't just settle in for any pressure or just people throwing, say, hey, I know this person, she's good or he's good. So, because probably your clock is ticking, then that's where the pressure start coming. So don't be easily influenced by people.
And that is a good advice. Most people don't even at church, good intentions. Aunties at church will say, oh, I have so and so for you. And you get so wrapped up in not saying no. Sometimes you honestly have to say no. The auntie have good intentions. She comes in with the idea. Please say no. Because you don't want to offend them.
Even like, aunties, this auntie is linking you up. This auntie is, by the time you see 5 aunties have linked you up with five
different people.
Come on now. Say no to someone.
Yes, please say no. And with good intentions also, the expectation is that when you don't like somebody and you're leading them, or you block your chances of the person you like. So please focus on the fact that you are where you are for a purpose, and God is in the business of making sure that his or a daughter and a son is being taken care of. So trust in God.
Right.
And another thing I want to say before we move on is don't be mean to people.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to, be approachable, because you never know. Yeah, you be friendly. And I see that sometimes people are just going through stuff and it show on their face. Just be nice to people, and, God will make a way.
Be approachable.
Yep.
Be approachable. And God always have a way of working things out. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So we are talking about, this is a moment of truth, and we're talking about the seasons in our life where we are single, or being single, or singlehood. Because we want to address the issue that being single is not a curse. Being singlehood is not a bad thing. Being single is good. And if you are in that stage, we want you to be prepared to enjoy it. And the only way you can enjoy it is to make sure that God is the center of it. And if God is the center of it, you always have the best things in mind. So our guest has been good in talking to us about his stages of singlehood. And we're talking about things that you shouldn't be doing when you are single. And some of the things that you should be doing when you are single. So you have to have a balance, and a good balance definitely is a good thing.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things as single, what are some of the things you need to balance in your life?
First of all, you need to balance the misconception. Because mentally, it can affect you. So you need to balance that. You need to balance your time management as well. And also looking at, like I said earlier on, you need to do things that will, help the community, because once you get married, you're going to get busy. So you need to balance your time very well. And especially the misconception, because it can affect you mentally. And so it is very important to balance that.
And when we talk about misconception, if you're just tuning in, the misconception can be anything. Even your aunt who has good intention can really frustrate you. Somebody once told me people stop coming to church because of the misconception. That you come to church and the first thing somebody asks you, oh, you're still not married. And then you walk away thinking you have been defeated already. And the enemy will attack you because it feels like that is your weakest area. And so we really want you to focus on any misconception that you feel is being attached to the fact that you are single. Please work on making sure that it doesn't affect you in a way that it has a negative impact on your life. And that is important.
So what are some of the things that we should do to make sure that single people around us are comfortable, that we do not make them feel depressed all the time? What are some things that you think we need to be doing?
First of all, we need to be praying for them.
Amen.
And as well as getting them involved. Being a mentor to them is very important, because, for instance, if you've been married and you've been through that stages before, it's good to share your life experience with them. So it is very important that we reach out to them, let them feel comfortable around us, because somebody may be going through stuff and don't know where to share it, and that's where sometimes somebody might commit suicide because getting pressure from everywhere that you need to get married. So we need to be easy around them and also be reachable to them.
And that is good, because I think most of our times we tend to be so focused on our life that we forget the people around us are hurting. And so if you are single and you're watching this program, if people are not reaching out to you, you should reach out.
To
also.
other single people as well?
Yes, to reach out to other single people. Because one of the things that our community, we don't learn to do, we don't know how to have fun together. We really don't. So we want to encourage you, if you are single in the church, you can organize things, singles event. You can plan things that will encourage other singles to be able to go out there and be part of the group, especially when the focus is on God. So we really want to encourage you. Don't be in your room feeling like you're alone. Don't feel like the church does not know you exist. We know you exist, and your community know you exist. But if you're hiding, we can't help you. So reach out. If anybody hasn't reached out to you, reach out, and we're there to really help you.
I like that. So that brings me to the next question. Do you think that the church pays much attention to singles in the church?
I would say yes, but not enough.
Okay.
My reason is that our church, sometimes we focus more on religious aspect, which is not bad, but yet we need to also concentrate on other social aspect of our members, and that is where the church lacks a little bit. But I've seen the church, we organize events for singles and stuff like that, but I believe that we need to do more, which will also bring them around and have them know that we got their back. So I think we need to do more as a church.
I like that. So what are some of the things that the church can do to equip singles? Like, what are some of the things that you suggest that we can do more? Like, give us one or two things that you think the church can do that will
encourage
equip
the singles within
equip them in their own ways and make them progress.
So apart from organizing events like singles and stuff like that, I think that we need to get them involved in the church leadership, because sometimes they want to call somebody to a leadership position. They'll be like, "Oh, he's not married. He's not married." I think it's a wrong conception or perception. So I think that we need to get them involved, especially in leadership roles, which I've seen our church improving on that. Okay. Yeah, so that's another one I would say. And another one I will also say is organizing seminars. The great thing I heard a couple weeks ago, we have a program coming up on the 13th.
Yes, we do. We do.
Yes.
Please,
You're
invited to definitely come to that.
Yeah, so it is very good thing also bring them all together, and also having social events where we were trying to link them up, not linking them up, but get to know each other from different states, different cities, different assemblies is very important, because I think we can do more.
Yeah. Oh yes, and that is really important. I think each individual should appreciate the fact that we have a role to play. If you are single in the church and you see a need, please don't say because I am single I cannot help. If you are good at something and you see that this is an area, if you are good in management or you are good in organizing, and the church need people to do organization, please volunteer your time, volunteer your skill set, and that will also help the church to move forward. But if you don't volunteer, it's hard for the church, people in the church, to use their resources to their advantage. So please do volunteer.
Yes. And also you can send us some views on some things that you think the church can organize to help singles. And Na is here. She's a good organizer. We'll see how we can put it all together and make sure the church is really reaching out to singles and equipping you in all spheres of life, so that by the time you're married or by the time they call you to a position, leadership position, you are equipped, ready to go. You are in the right frame of mind, And I think the more we organize these programs too, then all the other people in the church will now start having a different mindset, and the culture will be changing. So send us your views, okay?
Another thing I want to throw in quickly is also find a way to educate our members about all these misconceptions, because sometimes they make remarks that are very, discouraging.
And you think it's on purpose, but sometimes it's just
lack of knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I was just talking to my wife, and she was telling me that she went to church last week, and somebody said, "Oh, you dressing like that? You already married? Why are you dressing like that?" so this is, some of these utterances that are not helping. Sometimes somebody will be like, "Oh, you put a lipstick like you." One of the youth members also mentioned that a couple of week, seminars we had. She said she came to church, and somebody said, "Oh, you put a lipstick like before."
So you put a lipstick on like you're a witch.
Right.
Wow, that is hurtful.
Right.
That is really hurtful.
Yeah. So some of these comments are not encouraging, and another thing also, we have to respect them, because one day they're going to be leaders of the church. So we need to mentor them as well, bring them together with us, and that will be helpful.
And that is one thing that I think most people don't realize. As we're talking about singlehood as a season, that season will pass. And so that person that you see single will one day be a wife, a husband, a father, a mother. So whatever you are teaching that person will also pass it to the next generation. So this is a moment of truth. We really want you to understand that we want to break some of the cycle in our society of singlehood. Some of the ideology that is not helping, some of the thought process that is not helping, and definitely some of the misconceptions. We want to help you to understand that everything that we do, there is a purpose. So please be wise in what you do and how we affect the next generation.
So far, are we trying to say that it's okay to be single?
I won't say it's okay to be single. It's good to be in a relationship, especially being married, because Proverbs chapter 22, verses 18 says, "Whoever finds a wife finds a favor of God." So I won't say it's good to be single, because there are several challenges, especially sexual aspect, sexual attractiveness. The good thing is that in our community, when somebody find out that you're married, they leave you alone, right? So if you are not married or you're still single, it's
more challenging.
More challenges. People will be coming to you, proposing, and if you're not lucky, you fall into that. So it's not. I won't say it's okay to be single. It's good. It's lovely to be in a relationship, and as well as being married.
So we're going to take a quick break, and this is Moment of Truth, and we are talking about singlehood. We're taking a quick break, and we'll be right back. Don't change the channel. Okay.
Awesome.
So we are back again talking in a moment of truth, and we're really talking about singlehood and what challenges are there in singlehood. So of course our wonderful guest, Kweku Boateng, has been such a wonderful guest, really talking to us about some of the challenges, and we'll continue to talk about the challenge because the challenges are challenges. So please tell us some of the challenges about being single.
Some of the challenges is, like we said earlier on the earlier episode, being able to have the trust of people, and like people think that you're not responsible.
Of course.
And also, some of the challenges can also be where you're trying to put yourself together, getting your career, as well as getting your education. It can be challenging because you are doing everything by yourself. Whilst if you are married, your spouse will cook some food for you by the time you get home. Yeah. So
they'll be your cheerleader, cheering you on and encouraging you.
Right. Sometimes you come back from work. Your partner could have just go to the shop, get you some stuff, but being single, you have to do everything,
Yourself.
clean your house, cook, and all that. So it's all comes to as part of the challenges that you have as a single person.
Okay. Well, some of the things that I also see is that in terms of even your community as a whole, we talk about people not trusting you. Does it really go far, even your career path? Like you want to do something, you want to be a manager, and they look at you being single and they don't trust you. Would that also play a factor?
Yes, because sometimes people think that, oh, once you're married, you're more responsible, and you can be trustworthy. And I don't believe so. But to me, your integrity must surpass everything. So the fact that somebody is single doesn't mean that a person is not responsible or cannot be trusted. So that conception must be stopped or must be minimized.
But it does affect people's careers sometimes.
Yes, I've seen it does, because it's not always, but certain situations, like I said, example, in our church, they play a very critical decision when it comes to somebody being married or not. And I will share this briefly. A friend of mine who is in Canada was telling me about his experience. He was an elder of the church, and he was not married. So whenever they having marriage discussion on an issue come, and they will make a joke like, "Oh, shut up, you don't know about marriage," you know.
That's not a nice joke.
Yeah, so people thinking that is going to be very,
Yes, negative effect on you.
So
and that is very important. Being single doesn't mean that you don't have the brain and you are not observant. People can watch you, or you can watch people and you can really help people. And so we really want you, this is moment of truth. We really want you to know that wherever God places you, God is going to use you. So don't be quiet. Don't keep your mouth shut because people say, oh, you are single. You don't know what you're talking about. Please help. And in your helping, God will also open doors for you. So remember that.
I like that. And sometimes, too, the way you carry yourself, can make those misconceptions be more, look more concrete than they really are. So if you're single and you know that one of the misconceptions is that people believe that you are not responsible, you're not reliable, then don't take off duties that you are not very sure you can carry out. Take on duties that you are very sure you can carry out. Because already, people are not expecting you to be responsible. So if you go and take too much and you're not able to do it, then you have proven them right that you're not responsible. So the fact that you're single and you want to help in the church doesn't mean that everything, volunteer for it. Volunteer for what you're very sure you can do and do it to the best of your ability. That way, you'll be standing out as being responsible, right? Make sure that you're working on your finances so that that misconception that you just are careless with finance, you don't know what to do with it, you'll be throwing it around so everybody come get. When you're able to do something concrete with your finances, you are disproving that misconception. So these are some things that we can do to disprove. Don't prove people right, but just work on yourself. And like Mr. Boateng said, integrity should go before you. If you're working with integrity, most of those misconceptions will be out the door. But if you're just walking carelessly and you don't care, then you're proving everything right. Right?
That is so true. So we have a role to play in everything that we do. And we're talking about, moment of truth. We're talking about singlehood. The church can help, but the church can only do so much. So what are you doing to help yourself? Because if you are in the church and you say yes to everything they ask you to do, and then at the end of the nothing
you're not
is
able
done,
to do any of it.
So then are you proving them right or you're proving them wrong? Because the next time they have something, they say, please don't ask her because she will not do it. And that is embarrassment. And I've heard people say that, please don't ask her. And I'm like,
she'll say yes, but she'll
do it. Yes. So let your yes be yes and let your no be no. And that one way, your singleness will not be a curse to the people around you, but it will be a blessing because you are a blessing to the people around you.
And another thing I want to briefly say is also be hardworking. Because being single, you have all the time in the world. I'm not saying that you don't have other things going on, but you'll be able to achieve more whilst you're single. So, like I said earlier, if you need to get education, get it. If you need to build on your career, you need to get it. And then you cannot just be lazy And to me, being lazy is a disadvantage even in your next
Being lazy is
relationship.
a sin.
So,
It is.
so especially being a man, you need to be hardworking.
Yeah.
Because women don't like lazy men.
No, we don't.
So you need to also be hardworking person. That's what I want to throw in out there.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about moment or two. We are talking about singlehood. Do you think the church pay much attention to equipping the singles in the church?
I think the church don't do much because the church most of the time is concentrating on more religious and spiritual aspect of it. But I think the church can do more if we want to. And I believe that having a plan is always the beginning of a good success or a good project. So planning that, okay, we want to do this for the singles, building them up is very important. So I think the church can do more, but we're not doing it now.
So when we're talking about equipping people, I think not social aspect, but even religiously, like, are we equipping the singles to be able to, if you have a single and you say, come and preach to the women ministry or come and preach to the men ministry. One of the things that I know as a fact is that when the men ministry are doing something, the single young men are not there. And when the women ministry are doing something, the single young women are not there. So it creates a disadvantage to them. So how do we encourage them, or how do we have something that we feel like they want to be part of it?
Okay, so that's why I said earlier on that we have to mentor them.
Okay.
So reach out to them, say, hey, I want you to come with me. Let's say at the end of the service, I go back there and count the money. So I want you to come with me. So in that process, you are building the person, you are encouraging the person. So we have to mentor them. We have to reach out to them because they don't have to reach out to us. But if we want to do more, then we have, as a church, to reach out to them.
And that is an important. So we are encouraging Moment of Truth. We are encouraging the older people in the church. Please, please, please reach out to the young men and women in the church. Really mentor them, because your mentorship will play a huge factor in their success and their relationship within and their walk with God. Because if they feel like somebody cares, then they are going to take the time to make sure that their success reflects a positive affluence of the church. But if they feel like nobody cares, then they are not going to be invest in the relationship and the people around them.
And that's so true, because it's even in the Bible that the older women should teach the younger women how to be keepers of the home, how to be temperate. I wish I knew where that scripture is. But you Google it, say the older women should teach the younger women, and you will see it in there. So it's really true. That's something that we should all be ready. But how about the younger people? Are they ready? The singles, are they ready to be mentored? Do you think that the single men and single women in our communities, let's say in our church, how would they take that on? Like, would they like to be mentored? Do you think they will accept mentoring? Or?
Yeah, I think they will, because when somebody keep reaching out to you, trying to seek for your interest or trying to help you, even if you are busy, you will make time to also avail yourself. So I think that if you are single, you also have to avail yourself for mentorship and for helping things around you, especially in our church. You cannot just sit on the fence. You have to be part of it. So that's another important thing.
And that is an important part. I think most times people sit on the fence and we criticize what is not perfect. You know, the church is the people. And I always tell people, if the church is all of us and we are not helping each other, the church is not going to grow. So in the moment of truth, I'm really encouraging you, if you are part of a community, please play a fact. You know, a huge fact is that if you contribute to the community, the community is going to give something back to you. If you don't communicate or contribute to the community, there's nothing that the community will give you. So be part of the community, the church community as a whole, and think of your single as an opportunity to use your hands, use your skills, use your talent, but be there, be engaged to your success. And we want to encourage you to do that.
Yeah. And to our aunties out there, do not be discouraged. It's not a one-day thing. You know, from personal experience, I'll say that the older women who have mentored me, it didn't take a day. Some of them have mentored me over 6 years, some over 5 years, some over 7 years. So it's a daily process. So the fact that you have invited me to maybe a women's ministry one day and I don't come, you invited me a second time and I'm not able to make it, that doesn't mean you should throw in the towel, right?
Sure.
It's a daily thing. Just keep on, and then gradually you'll be able to pull us along. And also, if older people are trying to reach out to us, let's also try and meet them halfway.
Please do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think the hardest thing is that we feel like we cannot relate to them. But they have a lot of influence on our life, and they have a lot to teach us. So even if you think that they are generational gap, and they are so advanced in their age that they cannot relate to you, please, you will be surprised. Because the fundamental thing is always fundamental. And we want you to remember that if you don't have the fundamental, it's hard for you to build upon it. Yeah. So
yeah, adding to that, I remember growing up in Ghana, before somebody get married, the women ministry will go and make sure she got her cooking stuff,
everything.
Right. And being a man, they will come to your house, make sure you have furniture.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure.
So what if you don't have furniture?
Right.
Then you're not ready to get married.
You're not ready to get married because the lady cannot come and sit on the floor. So you have to get furniture, you have to get a bed and all that. So I remember they used to do that. I'm not sure if they still do that. So being a man, you have to make sure you acquire all those basic stuff before you say, I'm ready to bring a woman to the house.
I'm loving it.
Yes, and as women also, I think one of the things our society is always doing is we are trying to compete with the society we live in. Please, with godly, it's expectation. So don't try to say, oh, my friends is doing this, I'm going to do it. And then you end up fighting more than you can chew. So we really want you to focus on, this is the state in which God has put you. This is your season. Enjoy your season. Don't compare and compete with anybody. Remember where you are and remember who you are. You are a child of God, and God is willing to use you to do great things. So really enjoy your season that you are in.
What are some ways that you think that single people can, we're hearing a lot about depression and stuff. We're not saying it's only single people who are depressed, but if there's a single person who is depressed, what are some things that you think they can do to get out of the rut?
Okay. Some of the things you can do, like I said, be prayerful and also be close to God. Find time to do your quiet time because, like me, it helped me so much when I was single.
Can you explain what quiet time is? If someone doesn't know what quiet time is.
What is a quiet time? What does it mean?
So quiet time depends how your schedule is. So you find, let's say, every 9 o'clock in the morning is my free time. Or when I get out from the bed around 7 o'clock, I can spend time reading the Bible, say a little prayer, have interaction with God. So having God in your life also helps a lot being a single person because some of these challenges that we were talking about and these conceptions, when you have God, it plays a very important role. So somebody may say something and you just brush it away that I know God is on my side. Yeah. So God is going to bring my man to me. So I'm not worried.
Amen.
That reminds me of something. We went somewhere and we were having a program. It was a religious program. So they called all the married people to come and dance because it was, I think, a celebration of a marriage, something. So they called all the married people to come and join the people celebrating to dance. And then after that, they continued with the service. And then it was testimony time. And then one elderly lady who might be in her 60s, she came, she said, oh, she has a testimony, and that, when they called the married people to come and dance, she thought they were going to call the single people to also come and dance, but they didn't call them. But hey, if you're single out there, know that God is still on your side. Come and join me, let's also dance. It was fun. But like, just looking at it from her perspective, how she made light of it, and everybody, it cleared the air, Sometimes you can also, relate to what is going on. But like you said, you can brush it aside if you have that confidence in God.
Right.
You know that this is the reality, but God's truth is what stands. So I like that.
Yeah, that's very important because you're going through a whole stages of your life, and without God, you cannot do anything. So It's good to spend time with God and have a close relationship.
So we're prayerful. We're having our quiet time. That means we are reading our Bible and praying, and we are talking to God.
Talking to God.
So we've looked at two: be prayerful, talk to God.
Yeah, and another thing that I was also want to say is, like I said earlier on, be busy.
Be busy.
Not busybody, but be
Be
busy.
busy,
Be
doing
busy.
something.
And that is
busy
important.
for something.
Yeah, and that is an important part because most times people stay in their rooms, and that is where you get on the internet. You're watching things you're not supposed to watch and spending quality time doing unquality things. So we really want to encourage you to be part of your community and be part of the church organization. Be out there doing the work of God, and God is going to put people in your life that are going to help you, shape you, and dynamically mold you to be the man and woman that you need to be for God. And you cannot be busy going to club and saying that you're going to find your wife or your husband at club. So we really want to encourage you, focus on your singlehood as a stage in your life, that the season that is there for a purpose. And that purpose is draw closer to God, do the work of God, do the ministry of God, and grow in your Christianity and grow in your relationship with God. That's important.
And another thing I want to quickly throw in out there, at that time, if you don't know how to do stuff, like home stuff, like cleaning, cooking, and stuff like that, that's the time you need to learn that, because you cannot bring somebody home, or you cannot go marry somebody and
I can't do basic stuff.
yeah, especially with all respect to the women, you don't know how to cook for the man, because that was one of my
Your main
thing
you
that
had to look for somebody who can cook.
Yeah, I can cook though.
They say that a way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Right.
So if you can't cook, there is YouTube about cooking.
Different
and of
dishes.
course, yes, of course, if you're Ghanaian, there's so much Ghanaian food out there. So the basic one you need to know how to do is jollof. Everybody wants to eat jollof.
And peanut butter soup.
Or peanut butter soup, unless you don't like peanut butter soup, or unless you're allergic to peanuts. But definitely learn how to cook some jollof.
And cleaning too is very important.
Yes, clean house, godly house. So
Yeah.
So we really talking about singlehood, and we really want to focus on the idea that singlehood is a state in which we are in. It's a season, and it's also a process in which we can draw close to God. We can learn what it means for God in our life, but most importantly, we can grow in our relationship with God, and that is an important part in being single. And of course, our wonderful guest has been Mr. Boatin, has been such a great asset in addressing the issue. So as we're talking, as we're wrapping up, what do you want your audience to know? If there's one thing you want your audience to know about being single, what would you want to tell them?
What I want to tell them is, one, your integrity as a person is very important, and also setting up your values, your beliefs that you want to have in life, or making sure that, okay, I want to get married to this person, but this is what I expect from the person. You're not going to get 100%, but at the end of the day, there are some basic stuff that you need. So you have to set your priorities that, okay, I'm looking for this lady, I'm looking for this man. I don't want a man who smokes. I don't want a man who drinks.
That means I'm not smoking myself too.
Right. So whilst you're checking out these things, then you have to also look at yourself. So building your integrity and is very important. And with all said and done, be prayerful and spend time with God.
I love it.
So we really appreciate that. So all this month, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about single. We really want to address the issue in a way that you walking away in a moment or two, really learning that in your singlehood is a season. And that season is for you to grow. That season is for you to learn. And most important, that season is for you to expand your territory. You cannot expand your territory if you're not doing the work of God, if you're not close to God. And we really want to walk away thinking, wow, God has put me here for a purpose. And my purpose is to draw close to Him. My purpose is to be about godly work. And if you're about godly work, God will definitely use in that aspect.
Yeah. And thank you very much for hanging out with us. We've been talking about singlehood, and today we've had a nice time. Next week is going to be phenomenal too. Today I learned that singlehood is a season, just like the seasons before singlehood, and during singlehood you're supposed to be preparing for the next season. So for each season we prepare for the next season. And our guest was telling us that being single, that's a time to learn how to do basic things at home, learn how to cook, clean, be able to improve yourself, study, use that time, go to school, do what you have to do to get yourself ready for the next season of your life. So thank you very much. I've learned a lot from you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me too.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot too. So we are part of Church of Pentecost, and we are here as part of Adonai Radio and Television, or Adonai Radio and TV. And we also want to draw attention to a couple of things that are going on. So this week, the church is having the 2008 National Prayer Conference, which is called Encounter with the Holy Spirit. So we want to invite you to it, and the theme is Encountering the Divine Pillars of the Cloud and Fire in the Journey of Life. Because we want you to understand that the only way you can do anything is by the Holy Spirit. So if you don't have God as the center of your life and don't have the Holy Spirit dwelling in you, the singlehood will not be the success you want it to be. And that is important. And of course, our guests also talk about the program that we are having next week Saturday, the 13th of October. And it's going to be about career, it's going to be about health, it's going to be meeting is all the Washington region area, so which is Maryland, Virginia, and DC. We're all going to be meeting here. And we're going to be talking about, your career impact. What are some of the new things that are going on in technology? What are some of the things going on in the healthcare field? And what are some of the careers? So all the PPN, which is Pentecost Professional Network, are going to be here. So we encourage you to also come in. And if you have any question, you can also check our Facebook and, of course, send us the question and we'll present it there. But the purpose is for you to meet people, for you to interact with people, and definitely for you to know what is going on in your community. And the best way to do that is to be part of that community. And that is good there. And we also want to take this opportunity to thank our national head, Apostle Amarco, our regional head, Apostle Asemno, and of course our pastor, Pastor Elvis Boateng, and the family. They have been such a wonderful support of Adonai Radio and Television. And we also want to thank our technician, their Safi, and of course our prince. They have been such a wonderful supporters of our program, and they are the technical team that made the program live that you can see. And we also want to talk about sponsorship. So this program is sponsored by us, and the people that are interested in sponsor, you can definitely reach out to us. And if you want your commercial, if you want us to commercialize or show a commercial of your company or anything, let us know. And if you want us to talk about your organization, also let us know, because we are here to be a community service, and that is what we want to do.
Exactly.
So we are encouraged and empowered to do great things, and this is Moment of Truth. So, do you guys have anything before we end?
We love you.
Love you all.
Okay, so thank you so much for being part of the Moment of Truth, and we hope you have learned something. But most importantly, we hope you take away something that is going to help you in your singlehood. Remember, singlehood is a blessing, and be prepared to do great things in your single life, that you have memories, and people will remember you because they think of, wow, this person was such a great aspect to the church during the time we were singles. And people always appreciate your service to the ministry. So thank you until next week.